Hi, everybody.
I'm William.
I'm Lex.
We are Dead Gentry.
I'm Lex who lost her soda. I'm
And
gonna go find my soda.
we're going to go over some item prices and info today.
It's very important because sometimes when you're recording and your mouth gets dry and then you choke. So
We are not doing an ASMR.
Okay, so just some fun pieces that I thought before they sell some of the nicer ones to add to the kind of the video archive and maybe give everybody some information on. First up, what do you think the trolls? So those aren't actually trolls. They're produced by Norfin Troll, but these are actually Piggy Banks, which were released. So little bit of backstory. These are Piggy Banks that were released by Norfin at the 1983 New York Toy Fair. So that's just some fun background information for collectors or possible would-be collectors out there. You see how one has like a little key, the one that has its original tag? That little plastic key is what opens the base to these. So one has it and one doesn't. It's really rare to find them with those original little keys because you see it's just loose. So these get...
So it opens the base here.
But they get lost all the time.
Right.
But the Norfin line...
So these are 39 years old?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they actually began in 1965. And some of the older trolls... sometimes you'll see them called Dams, D-A-M, because it's Thomas Dam was the woodcutter. So sometimes you'll see Norfin, sometimes you'll see Dam, sometimes it'll say Dam Troll. And no, I'm not cursing. It's D-A-M, Thomas Dam. But the earlier ones from the 60s to collectors can go for thousands. Like there's a rare white reindeer that can go for $1,200. The horses can go for $800 to $1,000. And it's almost like the stranger the troll looks.
Right.
The more it's worth.
I mean, that makes sense because they're supposed to be kind of not
it's like the uglier, the weirder it looks, the more
these all look pretty weird to me, but...
Also, things that can affect the value. And again, these are Piggy Banks that were released at the Toy Fair by Norfin. Still highly collectible. These are very cool. So, $70 to $80 a piece on these.
I was supposed to guess. So, yes.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say $60 a piece. But...
You would have been close.
Yeah.
And again, it matters if they're signed. The bear is signed. You can show it's on his little foot near the bottom base there. That can affect value if it actually says Thomas Dan. It's kind of snuck in there on the other side. See it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right there. So that can affect value. The original tag can affect value. Having the key for something like this can affect value. If you're dealing with the trolls, if all their hair is there, whether it's a little horse or a little frog or a little person, that the color of the hair, the brighter colors, the more limited editions, if it's, a rare gray piece or white piece with pink hair or green hair from the 60s to the 80s, it's going to be worth a little bit more.
It's kind of amazing that these tags have stayed with the pieces this long. I picked up for 5 minutes and already fallen off.
A lot of them are in the $500 range. A lot of the original Norfin Dams.
I assume because they're slightly rare at this point.
Yeah, and they're highly collectible. People really like the very old ones. I've even seen off-name vintage pieces that are not known go for hundreds because someone wants that weird little piece to add to a collection or is just oddly attracted to it. This is one of those categories of toy and collectible where people will be, it has kind of that it factor. Certain pieces will be highly collectible to certain people.
Yeah.
And if you put them in auction, say it's on eBay or maybe a private auction, you can get quite a bit more than just doing a base price sometimes.
They are cool again. They're definitely unique. We haven't spotted a whole lot of these out in the wild, so to speak.
A lot of the modern ones. And even those in good condition could go for $20 to $30 for this, not for the larger dams, the older vintage ones, but like the smaller trolls can go for $20 to $30 in their original, if they're on a card, what's called a card, it's in their original packaging that would have hung on a shelf to display in a toy store. Those can go for $20 to $30 each, even the tiny little 3-inch guys. So pretty cool. but a lot of the older ones in the $500 range. I guess what I'm saying is if you see these pieces, especially if they look older, these have glass insert eyes with the amber. They're clearly well made. They're resin mold casts. Take the risk, right? Even if you don't have, if you're a reseller, you might not have time to comp up what the comparable prices are. If someone's selling it for $5 to $10, just buy it. You probably aren't going to regret it. Worst case scenario, you get a modern piece that's made in China, and because you maybe don't know how to look for what an older piece might look like, and then you have a wonderful little toy hanging around your house, which probably will be valuable within the next 10 to 20 years. These things accrue value. I
like them because the eyes aren't super creepy. You think they could be with that color, but they're not.
No, these still look friendly. Some of the older ones, like the $1,000 ones,
super creepy.
They're spooky. Yeah. They're a little, the horses will have like pulled elongated faces. Okay. There's like almost like mer frog people that are like kind of on their bellies. And anyway,
that sounds weird.
They're a little spooky. So.
You said 70 to 80 each?
Yes, on these. These are the Piggy Banks. These are from the New York Toy Fair. Right. They're known pieces. They're archived. Collectors like to add them. And the Viking especially. The little bear's cute, but that's a cool little piece.
It is.
That's a cross-genre piece. You have Piggy Bank, collectible toy, troll, Norse Viking mythology. So, highly collectible.
Yep. What next?
Colored glass. Let's do some colored glass. We actually picked this up from a yard sale the other day.
Try to get it all on the screen. It's a tall one.
We'll have to put it in a what we paid, what we made video. I think she charged me $8. Does that sound right?
Something like that. It is a Blenko.
Yeah.
Try to get it in the...
Absolutely. It's a Blenko.
How tall is that? About 18 inches?
Yeah, this is a taller one. There are shorter ones that are a little more squat, like rounded and a bit shorter that tend to go for a little bit less. So, Blenko Glass, highly collectible. $18.93 to current day, they're still selling. You can go look at their internet splash page right now. And I suggest you do. They have an incredible archive history page on their company website. They show all these beautiful black and whites through the ages of people in the glass studio, all the different artists creating things. It's very cool.
That's cool. I'm going to guess 55.
100.
I'm going to guess 95.
Now, to be fair, the shorter one's done in the same urn style, cobalt blue, same little clear affixed applied handles to the side. There's a secondary glass color, a fixed base. Those are going to be in the $60 range, more or less. So you for the shorter piece, which is a little bit easier to find, you'd be correct.
Yeah, so this height, about $100.
About $100. Okay. And I think we actually have that one in the shop for $104, and it's going to cost at least $30 to ship, so we actually have it under cost.
Right.
Not everyone can do that. If you're a collector, you might not always be able to get that deal. And when it comes to shipping, if someone's charging you $20 to $30 to ship that glass urn, which is fragile, pay it. It's worth it to add it to your collection unbroken.
Fragile, heavy, long.
Yeah, it's fine.
3 things that hurt
you're not getting the short end of the stick there. It's going to accrue value over time. If you're adding it to a larger collection, it's going to make that collection more worthy. Yeah. So absolutely. Blenko is so collectible. There's like so much information I could give you on Blenko. Names to look out for: Joe Philip Myers, and anything that's signed. So on this one's a little bit more modern from the studio, but it has the foil sticker. Sometimes the pieces will actually be artist signed. It'll be like a little engraved etching. Or it'll be in their archive. It'll be a known recorded piece, which is actually very helpful because then you can look up the artist who made it with the original photos.
Right.
So Joel Philip Myers can go for $2,000 to $4,500 consistently. Yeah, see? That's William just made a face none of you can see. He's like, this one's only worth $100. Yeah. Yes, this one's only worth $100. And we say only worth because that's quite a bit of money. But these are very collectible. Older pieces can go for quite a bit more. Known artists, multicolored glass, carved. There's the Devil Head by Hank Adams is one of my favorite. If you have the chance, go look up Blenko Devil Head or Blenko Hank Adams, and you will see this multicolored vase that has it's amazing. It's like a caricature of the devil, but it's very funny, almost. And those go for $800 to $1,000 consistently. About one of those sells every year or two, depending on who may be passing away, which collections are coming up for estate sale, things of that nature. And again, rarer pieces go for more. Cameo Kelsey's can go for $1,000 to $2,000. I've seen them go for, $1,500, $1,800 consistently over a year. Multicolored, a lot of sea life pieces, carved. She'll actually carve the glass, like blue salmon into her vases, things of that nature.
And Blanco it's an American company? Is that right?
It is now.
Okay.
I think in Wyoming now, I want to say, or they moved to Wyoming in the I don't want to say. I don't remember off the top of my head. But they are now. So, actually, the shorter urns go for $80 to $90 sometimes. It depends on how wide they are. So these blue pieces can come in different shapes and sizes. I don't want to...
Yeah, it's very pretty blue.
I don't want to under-evaluate what someone might have. Take the time to look into it.
Right.
Colored decanters are doing quite well now by Blanco because of the barware trend along with the colored glassware trend. So even the pieces from the 70s to the 80s, maybe not as known of artists, still beautiful. And now they're really kind of selling up a bit, which is nice. Is that enough on Blanco?
I think so.
Okay.
We Blancoed out.
I would suggest anyone go look at their factory archive pictures on their website.
Neat.
It's neat.
Yeah.
It's like they have museum pictures. It's really cool.
Glassmaking's cool.
Another piece of glass. We have this Victorian. People love colored glass. That's why I always bring out a few pieces of it. Although I try to bring out fewer things now and tell more about them.
Yeah. A little
because
more detail.
before I was like micro speed racer trying to get through 20 things at once. So this is actually an antique.
So this is handmade from the Pontil mark, I can tell.
You've learned to look for a pontoon. Yeah. You can tell where it was broken away there.
Yeah.
On the iron rod that it was being created on, possibly.
Can I guess how old this is, too?
You can try.
I'm going to say 1960s.
Wow. You're really, well, kind of like 36 years off. So it's Victorian.
Okay, so much older.
Now, online, the word Victorian, what I see, tends to mean on eBay anything from like the 1900 to 1930. Which is completely inaccurate.
Right.
It's not like, and it's certainly not the 1920s, or the 1910s. It's the reign of Queen Victoria. I know I must sound like a really, like, a dinosaur, dusty person saying
giving
this.
accurate information.
But these terms have meaning. So a Victorian means from 1837 to 1901.
Okay.
The reign of Queen Victoria.
Wow,
that was her reign. That's when she sat on the throne.
Okay. I wouldn't have pictured it being that old.
This piece is likely 1901 to 1905. It's kind of hard to tell. This one is Mount Washington Glass Co. I was able to find incredibly similar pieces down to the way the hand-painted flowers are applied and the gold filigree work is done with the brushing. Not the exact same pieces. Like so close, they were done by the same, maybe within the same month of the dyes they were using.
I'm trying to get the raised 3 dots. I don't know if it's coming up on the film. We can
those are hand applied. Of course, again, hand painted, gold filigree, going to be worth a little bit more. So this is actually called a ruffled. Sometimes they put bride's bowl or bridal bowl. So the piece with this, you notice how it has that kind of raised foot, but that's like not a pedestaled foot.
Yeah. That's
supposed to sit in a silver stand. And that is how they were originally sold, and often sold in collaboration with very well-known silver manufacturers and smelters. So Victorian pieces, worth more. It's an antique, not just vintage, right? 100 years older.
Okay. So I'm going to guess 120.
180.
180. Okay.
And honestly, a piece like this, auction, a collector's auction, a colored glass auction, maybe even on eBay, could go for more. If someone starts bidding you up, you could easily get very quickly into the $240 range. No one's going to hesitate. They're not going to bicker over an extra $40 to get one of these pieces.
Right.
One of the reasons for that, the color on this one is highly desirable.
Yeah.
So what I've noticed is the ones that sell for more, and there are nicer, older pieces than this that go for thousands. So peach glass, the raspberry glass, anything in the red range or red in it tends to do better. The satin glass, which is not this glossy finish, but that it almost has that, it's not frosted, but it's beautiful. It feels like satin.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Those tend to do quite a bit more. You can make quite a bit more for those. They look more Victorian. Let me say it that way. They look like what you think you would see in a period piece film, sitting up on a mantle. like next to a bronze mermaid hand-blown lamp or something. So this one looks more modern, even though it is Victorian. But the nice thing about this one is it's cased glass. So it's not just one color. You notice that clear edge all the way around it. Cased glass can be more desirable. So, I don't know. What else do you want me to tell you about this? Other names to look for. There's Stephen Williams is a silver company that made some very valuable pieces. Phoenix Glass Co. made some very valuable pieces. Meridian? I want to say Meriden? Maybe it's Meriden Glass. Did some. And again, when they have their silver stand, when it's maybe peach, satin, lots of little ruffles, much more delicate and thin, you could easily be looking in, $3,000 range for one with its stand.
Wow.
So no stand here.
Right.
Not quite that desirable, which,
Still
by the
way,
there's a lot of interest. This piece is already in our shop, and I noticed the moment I put it up at that price, it's in so many people's carts. No one's purchased it yet, but you can kind of tell, you can gauge the interest, and it's because I'm undervaluing it a little with the free shipping,
right.
and these are trending. So, and if you happen to have the stand or can go seek out the stand or a stand that would fit this piece, they're beautiful table pieces. Cool. People really enjoy them. What do you want to do next?
Picture.
Okay. The picture. Do you know what kind of a picture it is?
It looks like watercolor and ink, but I could be wrong. It's definitely not oil.
I mean, you're close. You're close.
It looks like I don't know.
So this is a lithograph.
Okay.
It would also be called, this in particular would be called a chromolithograph.
You can kind of see maybe with the angles. Yeah, it's hard to tell.
But you're right that it's inked. So that's a great visual spot. Probably anyone watching, you're not going to be able to make that out between the glare and you're showing a picture of a picture. You do see that graphite signature. Most people can see that through photographs or video, what a graphite signature, an authentic signature looks like in graphite and not a copy. But it's hard to tell with the dyes unless you're really up close what kind of medium you're working with. So these were made on color blocks. And when it's a chromolithograph, it means multiple color blocks were applied. And you really kind of have to know what you're looking for as far as the edge imprint to see where multiple blocks were pressed and left behind dye residue in these little corner areas, to see where colors may or may not overlap, meaning it wasn't just pressed once but multiple. So that's a little more advanced. You're probably going to need to take a class in from someone. But generally, lithographs, a block print, dyes put on the block, pressed and printed. You can see how it's kind of impressed.
Right.
And then this one's really nice, like you said, because it's also inked. So they pressed it, applied the color by hand, right, to that block, and then went back and penned in all this black detail.
Right.
Which is...
It's neat.
It is. It's really well done. So this actually isn't one of our finds. This was commissioned to us by someone to sell.
Yes.
By a client. They have 2 of them, and I think I have one. No, I think 3. Maybe there's a painting as well. I think there's a Fisherman's Shack painting by a very well-known artist of hers that I have up in the shop as well. So we're selling this on her behalf. But, I mean, what's your guess? What's your guess on price? What's your guess on age?
Age 1910.
Wow. Yeah. You're dead on. So 1896 to 1928.
Okay.
So you're right there. And the only reason we know that for sure when I was researching this piece is because this is Orienthal and Newman, which is actually, that's who distributed them, we think, in that area, in this time frame. They also did postcards and other things. These were the prints they were making at that time. They were hand making prints to sell. That's awesome. Because that's what they did. It was back then that was very entrepreneurial. Now we call it amazingly fine art because it takes so much work. But yeah, it's an antique. You were right.
I'm gonna guess. I have no idea. 190.
Very close. 200.
200. Okay.
200 for this piece. This one's really nice. The colors are great. As I said, multiple dye layment, then the inking. You've got that graphite signature by one of the artists that was employed by Orienthal Newman at the time. So, and then again, this frame, matching the time period, the original paper backing, or at least only rebacked once from its original purchase. You notice there's no date on here, and you see that 013. I actually looked into it, and a lot of their other backed prints on original frames that people purchased have that same kind of like 50-20 to 40-20 print mark. Okay. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty to have all the original elements in place. Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, worth about $200. I would say this one's probably German architecture. If it were something a little bit more desirable, maybe a beautiful natural scenescape, or with a known building, perhaps you could probably get significantly more, depending on what somebody's looking for.
So I'm gonna move this out the way just a little bit for the next or last piece,
which is good because we're at 20 minutes already.
Time flies when you're talking.
See why I choose fewer pieces now?
Yes.
How much information do you want? Do you want to just guess?
So this is just a nice red box. That's all we're selling. Just a red box. So, see if I can get it in frame here. All of them at the same time. These are Faberge Ornaments. Pretty cool. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, you could see where the second owner that was gifted these actually wrote in ink what they were. Smart. Maybe not. I would have done paper. Yeah. And not on the original box. I wouldn't have inked it. That's actually a bit destructive. But at least they wrote down what they were, when they were from, when they received them. So
I will handle these gently.
We actually have multiple boxes of these, but I'm going to be selling them one at a time, I believe. I don't want people to get overwhelmed. The holiday section in the eBay shop or the Etsy shop is so full already of beautiful things.
So before you start, I'm just gonna throw out a number of $40 of an egg.
An egg?
Yes.
Now here's what's funny. If you were selling them individually, you could get $40 to $45. I've seen them go on eBay for that much at auction towards Christmas per egg. We're selling the whole box at $90.
Okay.
So we're looking at closer to $20 per egg and then $10 shipping, which is actually only about half of the shipping cost on this, of the shipping and packaging. But it's nice because we get to keep the collection together. Yeah. We could make more by separating them out and putting them on eBay to auction up.
It should be a collection.
And I was unwilling to do it. They look so beautiful. They're in their original box. Someone took such splendid care of them, never used them. So what's neat about the Joan Rivers pieces is if you look at the tops, if they have their original tops in place, they'll actually have her initials and then the year. So you notice how that says 2010? That's actually not accurate because if you look at the ornaments themselves, these are JR 2009s. So they were actually made the year before. And that actually fits with the background history I was given on these when we purchased them.
Hard to decipher.
That this person who wrote that on the box, the 2010, was actually the second owner.
Right.
That they got them from someone else. So they're a year off in their estimation of when they were made. But made in New York, Russian Faberge egg style.
Beautiful pieces, yeah.
Cloisonné, which I often, when I'm moving between languages, will pronounce Cloisonne, or I do it phonetically sometimes. But Cloisonné, Russian Faberge eggs, again, Cloisonné being that kind of style. This is mimicked Cloisonné. It's made to look like there's wire inlay, even though there isn't. So maybe Cloisonné style would be more accurate.
Okay.
Because real Cloisonné should really have that wire that's directly engaged with the glass or metal medium. It's hand laid.
Yeah.
What else can I tell you about these? Yeah, you were kind of right on in the price. I mean, anything that's hand painted, anything that's glass ornaments, anything that's, again, fits in multiple categories. So here you have Russian decoration, Easter decoration, Faberge egg collectible, Christmas collectible. So
Joan Rivers collectible.
Joan Rivers, maybe you follow her specifically. Maybe you're really into what she produces. So again, multiple categories can make things worth more. When it comes, Christmas ornaments is hard because when it comes to Christmas ornaments, they can be worth thousands. It really depends on the creator. So A similar piece to this by Dillard's would be like $70.
Okay.
Made around this time period, made with these sorts of materials. Instead of 40, you'd be looking at 70 each. And they would come in their own boxes. That's going to affect price again.
Yeah.
I'm kind of saying, like, if it was done like this, like if you're getting one in its original box with everything in place. So that would be like a seahorse cloisonne.
Right.
Would be like $70 from Dillard's. If it's like a Raymond Rogue, those are more modern rounds. You'd probably be looking at like, I don't know, the $20 to $30 range. Now, if you're talking about just ornaments in general, antique ornaments, again, can be worth thousands. Take the time to look into it. Don't assume that the prices I'm giving on this style of ornament in this year range are anything like a Reed and Barton set.
Right.
From, don't give them away. They can be worth up to $200 a piece or more. Names to look out for: Christopher Radko, Mackenzie Child. They did Christmas ornaments, highly collectible. Disney ornaments can be incredibly valuable. Steubens can be $3,000 a piece. I've seen them go from consistently in the $1,000 to $2,000 range, but up to $3,000 for a Steuben ornament, for a collectible antique. Again, hand painted, hand applied, handmade, older pieces, more known names. All these things affect value.
Yeah, I love these pieces. They're just awesome. The color, the detail.
And we have more.
We do.
We have more. So once these sell, I'll be putting some more in the shop. I have to say, though, this is one of my... They're all beautiful boxes because you can't... look how different they all are. Yeah, you're going to have your favorite in a box no matter what. Right. But for me, it's that rooster. I don't know why, but the gold rooster with the very red, I love that piece.
I like
That's
it
why
too,
I put them in
The
first.
Butterfly one just need to me, I don't know, something about the...
Oh, you like that detail. With like the lotuses, the pink lotuses and the butterfly?
With the purple,
very
purple.
colorful.
It's awesome.
Okay, so that's it for this episode. We'll make another one soon.
Like and subscribe, please.
Yes. If this is helpful, take the time. It really helps us out.
It does.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye.